transactions given. That is March of 2024. Now we can see our first transaction on 1st March 2024. Electricity and water bills amounted to rupees 3,000 and 2,400 respectively. So that means we have another two more expenses. We don't need to tell about expenses anymore. We have done it many times. So when expense increase, we should give debit. So we know it will come electricity bill accounted to and water bill accounted to what? Since the mode of payment is not mentioned, we can assume that the payment was made on cash. Now, very easily we can write the inventory. Just see how it will appear. Here we go to the daily inventories. We know the water bill is an expense. When we make the expense, when we pay the expense increases and the expense is debited. And when we know when the payment is not mentioned, our cash is gone. So cash is an asset. When it reduces, we take credit to it. The same thing happened to electricity bill also. What is written there, what is written, the date is written. I hope everything is clear because we have discussed it multiple times, so I think I no need to explain it. Remember, if we want, we can write it as a single inventory. It is known as a component inventory. How will come? Water bill accounted to, electricity bill accounted to, cash. You can write water bill amount is 2,400, electricity bill amount is 3,000, and finally the sum can be written as that. We needn't repeat the same credit term we say, right? Just leave it. I just mentioned another means, you know, don't be confused. This is an easy and simple way to remember for you, so just remember that. Now we have written those two expenses. Now we can see what is other thing we have now. On the same day, we have nothing else. And on 5/3/2024, the 5th of March, we know the 5th is the date for this business to make purchases. The same thing happened here. The repetition of last month. We just paid 2 lakh to Raju Bhai and took goods for 4 lakh from him. Since even though it is not written from him, we can assume that because it is from the same line. So this good is also taken from Raju Bhai. And the purchase good from Raju, a purchase good from Rajiv worth rupees 1 lakh. So we have a new creditor too. Since the name of the person who supplied is written, we can understand that this person has given us a credit. We need to remember him, so the name is mentioned. So what happened? We did three things on the same day. What are were the three things? The first thing, we repaid 2 lakh to Raju. Why? First thing we did. The second thing, after we paying, we once again bought goods in credit from him, and we borrowed goods from another person also. So on this day, we did three things. So we need to write three journal entry. Let's see how the transactions can be open as journal entries. On it is 5/3. Okay, now we can go 5/3/2024. Where it is okay. But it is 5/3/2024. We can look. Okay. And what was the first thing we did? We paid to Rajiv, right? Remember, when we make repayment, I needed to explain it because we have did the same thing before. Once again, I'm telling you, when we make repayment to Raju Bhai, we know is a liability. When we make repayment, our liability decreases. So when liability increases, we should give credit. When liability decreases, we should give debit. We must have made the payment in cash, so the cash will also reduce and asset reduce. We should give credit. We can easily connect these things. We can easily write them the inventories. Now see how we can write. Since value by the liability decrease, we are writing this naming the side. That is, we are giving him a debit to reduce the liability rather by account to. And what should come in credit, since we are not given with how we made the payment, we can assume that we have made the payment in yes. Okay, we made the payment in cash. Now we can write the amount. We know the amount is 2 lakh. We can just refer to the question afterwards. 2 lakh rupees. Okay, now 2 lakh rupees, the credit have been reduced. The liability has been reduced from Raju by, and how the liability reduced? We made a payment in cash, so the cash is also reduced. We have mentioned the two amounts, and we can give a short narration. We pay, repayment. Okay. Repayment to who? Repayment to Raju. Why? You can write whatever you feel convenient. That's not, there is no format for writing the narration, but you should mention what is written as the journal. After making the written what we did, we once again made purchase from Raju. So when we make purchase from Raju, the journal will come as purchase accorded to. Why give the book to purchase? Because purchase is an expense. When expense increase, we should give debit. Now, after we can't write cash because we have been made in payments, we have just borrowed things. So we can write purchase accorded to Raju by. So how much rupees? I also forgot to see the question. The date was 5th of March. Yeah, 5th of March. We paid 2 lakh to him, okay? And we took goods for rupees 4 lakh from him. Okay, here we go. Hmm. Yeah, now we can just write near to the purchase that we have made a purchase of rupees 4 lakh and parallel to the cash. So not cash, we have not paid any cash, we have purchased in 30%. We can write Raju by because we have a liability to pay him 4 lakh rupees. Now we can give the narration what is. We made a credit purchase. That is enough. Just credit purchases. Now we know what is it. Now we know we made another credit purchase on the same date, isn't it? The credit purchase and just copying it again. For my convenience, you have to write it once again. We made a credit purchase on the same day, but it was not from home, not from Raju, but from a new person called Rajiv. So the name alone changes. The name and amount alone changes. The entry is same because the same type of transaction happened. The amount also is different. I think it is 1 lakh rupees. So we can write here 1 lakh. Here, when you write 1 lakh parallel to purchase, it means what? We have made a purchase of 1 lakh rupees. Okay. Now, when you write 1 lakh near to Raji, what does that mean? Now, by making this purchase, we have got a new liability and we are obligated to pay 1 lakh to Raji now. So I hope it is clear to you. Now we can move to the next transaction and see how to write the and react. On 12/3/2024, Baskin Robbins gave a commission of rupees 30,000 to introducing their product through her restaurant. If you remember, it is written her because if you remember the story, this restaurant is run by a woman named Radhika. Okay, now see, Baskin Robbins, an international ice cream brand, has paid Radhika rupees 30,000 for what? For introducing their product. Remember, they have given a commission. So, what is the situation? Here, Baskin Robbins, a company, approached who? Radhika. Radhika and asked her, okay, Radhika, now we have some new product with us. We will give you this product, and what you should do? You should introduce this product to the premium customers who come to your restaurant. Okay, when you introduce, see, just think a person came to her restaurant and asked, okay, bring me some new kind of ice creams. She should take what this Baskin Robbins ice cream to them and tell them, sir, this is something newly arrived in the market, which is very good in taste, and she should market it. She should promote it. Okay, it was a deal between Baskin Robbins and Radhika. If she did that well, Baskin Robbins agreed to pay her a commission. Remember, this is not the profit on sales. This is an additional amount Baskin Robbins agreed to pay to Radhika for promoting a new product that they have brought to the market. So Radhika successfully promoted the market and Baskin Robbins gave what? A commission of rupees 30,000. Remember, since commission has received by Radhika, we made it out this commission is an income for the, isn't it? It's an income for the business. Now, other than sales, business has got one income. Remember, sales is the only direct income of the business, and some very few indirect incomes are there. One among them is commission. So she has received a new income, isn't it? Now, what happens when income increases? According to the rule LIC, when income increases, LIC, the second one is income, but when income increases, we should give credit. Okay, now we know what should come on the credit side of the balance sheet. But we need debit also to complete it, isn't it? Remember, it is said gave a commission. We have received commission. The mode of payment is not mentioned for, so undoubtedly what we can do, we can give debit to whom? Debit to cash, because cash is an asset. When asset increased, we should give a debit. Okay. So remember, we have got an income. This income is paid through cash, paid as cash. So the same time we will have an increase in income. The same time we will have an increase in cash flow. So we can just see how to write this journal entry. Yep. Here we go. The date was, once again, you can see the transaction, the date was 23. Okay, the commission amount was 30,000. Okay, now it is enough. We can go down. Okay, now the new date is 12 3 2024. Okay, we got the date. Now what else? We know we have received commission as cash. So cash, the asset has increased. So we are giving it a date. And why we have, in what terms we have received the cash? We have received cash as commission to the sales we make. So the income, the name of the income is commission. So we are giving it credit. Okay, now we will write here 30,000 because our cash in our hand has increased by 30,000. Also, we have got a new income called commission that amounted to 30,000. So we are writing a parallel to commission also. Yeah, this is how the transaction will come. Now we can write the narration as what? Commission received from, and just writing BR for basket order. You can write it as basket order. Remember, you can either write commission or we can write commission received. Okay, if it is written commission received, it will be more easy to understand because there are situations where we pay commission also. So it is better to write commission received. It's up to you, but don't get confused. Okay. Okay, now that transaction is over. Now see on the next day, 14/3/2024, what happened? Okay, on 14/3/2024, for expanding the kitchen, both equipments for rupees 45,000 with the loan amount taken from IDFC Bank. Now, also it is written that rupees 2,000 was paid for delivery and for the equipment and 3,000 for the installation. Now remember one thing, the business is going well, isn't it? The business of Radhika is going well, so she wants to expand the kitchen to meet her demands. Since she has so much demand and the kitchen is not fully equipped, she wants to just increase the capacity of the kitchen by bringing something new. So she has planned to buy some kitchen equipments. And what was the amount? It cost rupees 45,000. The kitchen equipment she is planning to buy cost rupees 40,000. But when she planned also, she didn't have enough money with us. So what she did? She just borrowed money from IDFC Bank. Let it be any bank I have just given any. She have borrowed money. So that means what all has happened in that life when she have see now we know two things happened. The two things came to her business. What are they? One thing is obviously it is the kitchen equipment she has bought. The same time she has taken a loan. So these two things have arrived to the business. The new kitchen equipment being something bought with cash and which is expected to give or benefit over a time and which can be sold for cash one day is an asset of the business. So some features qualify it to become the asset of the business. There is no doubt. The loan we taken, since we have the obligation to make repayment one day, is the liability of the business. So remember, dear, through this transaction, our asset has increased and our liability has increased. When asset increase, what should we give? We know we should give debit. So the journal entry would begin with kitchen equipment debited to. Okay. Now, when the liability increase, we should give credit. So the journal entries, kitchen equipment is better to loan. Is that clear to you? Hope it is clear. So kitchen equipment asset increase, so we give the rate when the liability loan increase, we give credit to it. Now just see how to write the journal entry. But we should also understand that something else, some more data is given here, which needs some sort of attention. If you have seen the previous video, we have talked about the principles of accounting. Among them, one of the most important principles was principle of historical cost. Principle of historical cost says that when we purchase an asset, if any cost incurred in relation to bringing that asset to the place of utility, the final amount, that is the purchased price plus amount spent to bring it to the place of utility, is called the acquisition cost of the asset. Okay. Now, what is acquisition cost? It is the cost incurred for purchasing the asset plus the cost, whatever cost it happened to bring that asset to place of utility, wherever we want that asset to be placed. So whatever money we have spent to bring it and make it functioning, all that amount should be added to find the acquisition cost. And when we write in our journal entries, what should we write? We shouldn't just write the price we spent to buy it from the store, but we should add all the expenses related to it. Hope the principle is clear. So according to this principle, we should consider what? These expenses, where? Huh. These 2000 and these 3000 expense should be added to the price of the kitchen equipment when we write in our book. See, that means the price of this kitchen equipment when written in our book, it should be 45,000 plus 2000 plus 3000, because this 2000 and 3000 was spent to bring this asset to our restaurant. So the final amount is 50,000. Okay, now how we will write the journal entry? Just see, it is easy, but we should have some sort of concentration or we will get confused. Just see how to write the journal entry. Just have a look at it once again on 14/3/2024. For expanding the kitchen, we bought a kitchen equipment of 45,000 with the help of a loan. And to bring that to our restaurant, we spent 2,000 for delivery charges and rupees 3,000 was spent for installing that equipment in our kitchen. Now, just see how we are going to write the yeah, journal entry. It is 12/3/2024 was the last date, and this the current transaction happened on 14/3/2024. Okay. Now we can see how the journal entry will begin with. Since we know we have bought an asset and asset has increased, we should give debit to the asset, that is kitchen equipment. Uh, Kitchen equipment is given what? Then debit because it is an asset that increased. So we are writing debit. Now we have understood that the amount should be 50,000 because we have to add the three things. But what should we give credit? We had told earlier we have wrote this with the help of a loan amount. So we have a loan, a liability increase. So we should write the loan as 45,000. Now there is a problem in this journal entry. What's the problem? Yeah, the debit and the credit of this journal entry is not equal. According to the double entry system, it should not come like that. We know why this difference happened. The asset price only is 45,000. So we have taken a loan for 45,000. What about the other two expenses? Since the mode of payment is not mentioned, we can assume that the payment was made in cash, isn't it? We have told that earlier. Now we can write that 5,000 here. Now just see what happened. The law, the amount, I mean, the price of the or the cost of the equipment written in the book and the credit side is also get equal, isn't it? This is how we should mention asset when the price of or the cost of bringing it to the place of utility is mentioned. If that price is not mentioned, we needn't worry. We would have written as what 48,000 alone. But here the price to bring it to the place of operation is mentioned. So we should add it. Now when we write in the narration, we can give a detailed explanation. What? Let's see. We brought kitchen equipment for rupees 45,000 with loan from. You can just mention the rank also. I will see and paid 3,000 for installation and also what and 2,000 for delivery. So we have mentioned everything there. Now it is very clear why we have written such a journal entry. Now we can move on to the next day's transaction. Now it is written on the next transaction happened on the 8th 3 2008, sorry, not 18 3 2004, 18th of March. What was the transaction? Rahman paid rupees 10 lakh and promised to clear the old bill with an upcoming Marti next month. See, do you remember who is Rahman? Rahman, you can just see when Rahman came before. Rahman came on, yeah, on 15th of February, Rahman came to our restaurant. He arranged a party for rupees 12 lakh. He agreed to make the payment. He didn't pay the bill. He agreed to make the payment on next month. So on the next month, he has arrived on 18th March and he said, now, even though I have to pay 12 lakh, I just have 10 lakh with me. The remaining 2 lakh will be paid later. Okay, we just need to know one thing. He has now paid what? 10 lakh rupees. Now remember, Rahman was an asset of our business. What happened to the asset? When he paid 10 lakh rupee, the asset called Rahman decreased. Remember, before he paid that 10 lakh, we expected him to pay 12 lakh to the company, 12 lakh to the business. Now, what happens when he paid 10 lakh? Now we can just expect how much 2 lakh to be paid from him. That means what? From 12 lakh, the asset decreased to 2 lakh. So it is obvious that when a debtor makes the payment, makes the repayment, the asset decreases. Similarly, if you remember the Raju Bhai's case, when we repay to the liability also decreases. Here the asset decreases because what? We expected 12 lakh. Now after paying 10 lakh, we can expect just 2 lakh something. So we know the asset decreases. When asset increases, we give debit. When asset decreases, we give credit. So what should we give debit to? Since the payment mode is not mentioned here, we can expect what? He has made the payment in cash. So just see um, how the journal entry would come. The date is 18. Okay, the journal entry, the date is 18 sorry, 2024. Okay, now we can see what was, yeah, we know we have received cash from Rodaman. Cash and asset when increase, when the asset cash increase in the business, we should give debit to it. Okay, we give debit to cash and see, we know the Rodaman asset has decreased from 12 lakh to just 2 lakh since he has made the repayment. So we are giving credit to it. Now we will write okay, parallel to cash in debit column. We should write what 10 lakh rupees because we have received a cash of 10 lakh rupees. Okay, from whom we have received that amount? We have received 10 lakh rupees from Rahman. So the liability of, sorry, the asset Rahman has decreased from his side. The liability for him to make payment to our business, the liability for him to make the payment to our business has decreased by 10 lakh. We can write in journal entry that repayment or yes, payment also it is also okay. Repayment made by Rahman. Okay, when Rahman made the payment, this is how the journal entry will appear. Now we can go back. What is the next transaction? After 18/3/2024. Yeah, the transaction happened on 23/3/2024. Radhika arranged a party for her friends worth rupees 30,000 to celebrate her success. Radhika's friend Anu, who liked one of the dishes very well, took goods worth rupees 500 to try it at her home. Now just remember, we are going to learn something new. When the owner withdraw something from the business. It can be cash, it can be good, or anything that the owner withdraw from the business. It is known as the drawings of the business. Okay, drawings mentioned as an expense. Say the when the owner takes away something from the business for his or her personal purpose. Here it is a personal purpose. Since her business was running successfully, Radhika just celebrated with her friends. Okay, it was not mandatory for the business to celebrate with her friends, but it was important for her. So we consider this as what? An expense to the business, and the expense to be borne by whom? The owner of the business. Now let's see how we will write. We have said that this is an expense, isn't it? Drawings is an expense. Okay, when the expense increase, what will we give? We will give debit, yes. We will give debit to the expenses. Okay, we should give what? We should give debit to the expenses and deposit. Okay. There is one thing else said here. Anu, a friend of Radhika, took away goods worth rupees 500 from him. Since Anu is not the part of the business, she has no right to take away things from our business. Then who can take? It can go to the account of Radhika. Since we have told before, whatever that the owner withdraws from the business, it is taken as the drawings an expense to the business. Okay, so we can say the owner Radhika has drawn two things: a sales of rupees 30,000 and what? And goods worth rupees 500 from the business. If you feel it's something complicated, don't worry. This is something rarely comes to your account, but we should know that we should know what all things can happen in a business and how to face, how to take up this as a journal entry. Now we will see how to write it as a journal entry. Don't worry. Okay. The date was 23/2024. 23/2024. And what was the amounts? Yeah, 30,000 and 500. Now we have told the business has made, sorry, the owner has made a drawings from the business. So the account is drawings. So since it is an expense, when it increases, we should give debit. What all things have she drawn from the business? She has drawn a sales, something that have sold to someone else was taken for her friends. And also one of her friend took some goods. Since we mentioned goods as purchase in journal, we can write it as purchase. Now remember, for the sales was made for the party was arranged for rupees 30,000 and the purchase, the goods was worth rupees 500. So for how much amount, the total drawings amount to how much? 30,500. So this means that Radhika took away something worth rupees 30,500 from the business. Now when we ask what are things she took away, she took some sale, something that would have been sold from the business for her personal use, which was a party amounted to 30,000, and from the goods that was brought for the purpose of sales, she has taken something worth rupees 500 from it. So this is the total drawings made by Radhika. Just write drawings by the owner. Okay, now we have written the journal entry. Now we can see what else we have. Yeah, now we have read the last journal entry. The last entry, entry of this question. See what is written on 26/3/2024. That is 26th March. Okay, on 26th March. Radhika paid all employees' salary, not expect it is except, okay, except rupees 30,000 to FOM Rahul Kumar, which was agreed to be paid next month. Okay, that means, on every month on 26th, Radhika would make the payment. Okay, Radhika would make the salary. In order to just see what happened last 2 months. On 26th of February, she paid salary rupees 3 lakh to all employees. On 26th of January, she paid salary to all employees rupees 3 lakh. But what happened on the third month? On third month, she paid salary to everyone except one person, FOM Rahul Kumar. FOM means friend of his manager. Okay. His salary was 30,000. She was unable to make the payment on third month, but for everyone else, she made the payment. Just see, here it is given as 2,70,000 was the amount she paid as salary. 2,70,000 plus 30,000. Total to what? 3 lakh, isn't it? So that means except his salary, she has paid salary to everyone else. Now, how we are going to write it as a journal entry? Just see one of our principles. Once again, I'm talking about principles of accounting. It is called matching principle. This principle says that whether you have received an income or not, whether you have paid an expense or not, if it relate to one financial year, if it related to one financial year, we should mention that expense or income on the same financial year's books of accounts itself. We should not skip it because it hasn't happened. We say, okay, this is not happening. We haven't received that income that year, or we haven't paid that expense that year. We shouldn't think like that. If that relate to that financial year, what should we do? We should obviously mention that in the books of accounts. Journal being one of the book of account, we can't skip it from here. Now, how we are going to write it? Don't get confused. Don't think it is something complicated. Simple one. You can just see how to write this. Okay. We are directly moving into the journal entry. Once again, remember the transaction of 26/3. She paid everyone's salary amounted to 2,70,000, expect 30,000 to FOM Rahul Kumar. Now we can see how to write the journal entry. The last journal entry happened on 26/3 2024. We know salary is an expense in it. When expense increase, what should we do? We should give debit. So like every year we are going to give debit to salary. And we know the total amount we have to pay is 3 lakh. There is no doubt whether we have to pay it or not. We should pay rupees 3 lakh. But how much cash have we spent for salary that year? For paying salary, the cash we spent only is 2,70,000. So we write it in credit side that 2,70,000 was we spent. Why? Because we have been paid the salary of one person called Rahul Kumar. Now, the salary that was to be paid in an year, or an expense that was to be paid in an year, but we couldn't pay on that year, is known as outstanding expenses. So here the name of the expense is salary. So we can mention it as outstanding salary. Outstanding salary, we usually write it as O/slash salary. Yeah, outstanding salary. How much amount is the outstanding salary? It is 30,000 rupees. Now just think about the justification of writing outstanding salary. Outstanding salary is now a liability. Remember, in accounting, it is a very important thing to know one thing. In accounting, think this point is the due date. Okay. If an income was passing through this line means this point means Before this point, before this due date, if an income is received, it is an income itself. But if the income is received after this due date, it is an asset of the business. Just think about what Rahman did. If Rahman has paid the money on time, his income it would be taken as income alone, isn't it? But since he failed to make the payment on due date, we took him as the asset of the business. Similarly, think of an expense. If the expense is paid on the due date itself, it is an expense alone. If the expense was paid after the due date, it become a liability of the business. So the same thing has happened here. The salary, if it was paid on time, we would have taken it as expense alone. But since we failed to pay salary to one, that amount become outstanding salary, a liability for the business, which have to be met in the coming year. Hope the concept is clear for you. Now we can write a narration to this as what? Okay. Salary paid to all employees except Mr. Just write FOM. You know how many FOM? Okay, just write FOM. Let it be like that. You can write in details, so no problem. Now we know we paid salary to all except FOM. For how much amount? 30,000, which is returned. Yeah. So by that, we have completed the journal of a business just 3 months. Don't think a journal would be a tiny thing like this because we have to record transaction on every day and every day we should write journal entries like this. Once you are familiar with the rule LICIC, you can easily interpret this table, you can easily remain this table and write this journal entry. Please go through everything. If you find anything difficult, please let me know. Hope it was something new for you. It was helpful for you. Thank you all.